In life, we encounter people every day, all of whom have stories to share. We rarely take the time to ask people their personal stories, many of which will touch, move, and inspire us in some way. Matt has a passion for making authentic connections and learning about people from all walks of life. He has lived a life of giving back to the community and making a difference in people's lives. Are you ready to meet fascinating people and hear some inspiring stories? The Matt Hilton Show will introduce you to a world of possibilities you never knew existed. Sit back, be present, and enjoy. Here's your host, Matt Hilton.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today. This is part 2 with our interview with Jason Statzer, and you don't want to miss this incredible story. Stay tuned for a word from our sponsor.
Inspired, experienced, customer-focused. Find a mortgage that fits your needs with Maria Leach at First United Bank Mortgage, specializing in construction and closing all types of loans, including jumbo, portfolio, conventional, FHA, and VA. A tenured team, outstanding service, competitive programs. Finance your dreams with Maria Leach at First United Bank Mortgage. mleach.firstunitedteam.com, 214-316-7915. mleach@firstunitedbank.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
I really wish I could put my brain on Front Street for everybody to see what's going on in my head at the same time, but you know, I can only do so much, right?
Well, hopefully that's what we'll accomplish a little bit of today, is so people can kind of see what's going on in your head. So some follow-up questions that I have for you is who played a role in your life besides God? Because I know God has played, but is there any man, any human, any woman, right, on this earth that has influenced you for good to bring you to where you are today?
Well, yeah, I have one. I mean, I actually have two, and I want to share about both of them.
Sure.
My brother Nathan. My brother Nathan was deafblind, and he never experienced the world we could experience today. He taught me more than anything. He taught me more about the spirituality, because even though he was deafblind, he emulated the fruits of the Spirit. My brother was the happiest, most joyful, loving, generous, or gentle, kind, and he was the soul I've ever met. And it's not because of what he learned in the world. It was an instinct. So these fruits of the Spirit you learn in Galatians 5 and 22, I believe they're to be instincts. I believe we all want to be loved. We all have joy, want peace, man. We want life to be gentle and kind, and you know, we want self-control. I mean, we want these things instinctively. I believe they're instincts. And Nathan emulated these things, so I got to grow up next to Nathan and these fruits of these spirits. Now, I didn't understand that growing up. It wasn't until later on in life, you know, like these last 10 years or so, that I've actually taken time to study what was going on in my life, these steps that I've taken in my past, and all this stuff, that I realized that Nathan been sitting here my whole life, and he's the one. He's like, he's never taught me anything. I mean, I've never had a conversation with Nathan, but he's taught me how to love more than any person could ever. My second one is Pat Bills. And the main reason Pat Bills is, and I've told him this a million times, but
And who's Pat Bills?
Pat Bills, man, you don't know Pat Bills? I should introduce.
I know Pat Bills, but audience may
Pat
may
Bills
not,
is
so.
he's the lead minister at the Highland Oaks Church of Christ, and he is somebody that I've been listening to talk about God for the past 10 years.
And a past guest on the show, by the way.
Oh,
So
is he?
go back
Has he already been here?
He's already been
Oh
here.
man, I thought I'd been going to do something he ain't done yet. Dang. No, but Pat Bills he's a little younger than I am, and when I found out that Pat Bills was just a little younger than I am, I started paying attention to Pat, because he's lived a totally, I'm not gonna say totally opposite, or but we come from totally different places, man. And he's like he's like a Superman to me, because he juggles all his life and walks on water at the same time, and I admire that, because he's responsible for, man, the lead minister of our church. I couldn't even imagine being in that position. And then he's got a beautiful family, 4 boys, a great wife, and he's got this serious relationship with God. Like, I watch people and I see people, and when I see Pat Bills, I see his relationship with God, and that's why I think he's leading our church in such a great way, because he takes his relationship with God very serious, and that's probably what makes him the man he is today. And a lot of the times, Pat Bills gets on that stage and he confirms things that I was just either teaching myself or talking to somebody else a couple of weeks before, or something to that nature. He gets up there and he's my confirmation guy. Anytime I got something that, hey, Pat, what about this and this and that? He's my confirmation. He's just the guy I trust, and I've just fell in love with this guy, because he loves God, and hopefully one day when I grow up, I kind of get to be like him, maybe.
Yeah, he's a pretty cool dude.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm going to throw this one in there, and this is not just because I'm on your show.
What's that?
But you inspire me a lot, because I've watched you these past several years coming in and out of the church. Man, you swinging on the worship team, you got this going on, and you're just like, is there anything you can't do, bro? I mean, I need to know, because I'm very inspired by you, and I approach you and tell you these things in church all the time, but here on your show, I will tell you to your face, in front of God and everybody, I don't care, that you inspire me a great deal.
Well, thank you.
Because of the things you do, your heart. You've got so much heart, man, and I see it.
Yeah, thank you, sir. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
that. Yeah. Heartbreak. Do you have some time? I know you said you needed to get to Forney. Do you have like maybe 20, 25 minutes?
Yeah, bro. I mean, I got all the time we need.
We're going to do a part 2. Like, I want to keep going with this, and we're going to do a 1 and 2 and just... Okay.
I will flip the camera over to you, because he just finished talking anyway about where you are. And so you look at your camera, and then you just like ask a question or something, and then I'll go back to the white camera, and then it'll just look like when I edit it together, like we didn't even take a break anyway.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to do. Like, you can break it in half wherever you deem fit, right? But yeah, and then I'll do 2 different intros after he leaves. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we don't have to do them back to back when we air them.
No, it'll just be one big old episode.
Whatever that looks like.
Okay, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Okay.
For sure. And I already have the camera on you, so whenever you're ready.
Okay, cool. Well, as we, continue this talk, and thank you for sharing so much about, your normal life that it was, pre 10 years ago. So you've created a new normal for yourself, and I see you, at church services every Sunday, and I know your heart, because you've shared it several times with the congregation. What would you say is your new normal? Like, what new normal have you created for yourself? Or is there a normal? Or is every day a new adventure for you?
Well, you ever watched the movie Groundhog Day?
I have.
Okay, so this, Bill Murray comes in here, he got to live out this day every day, and it seems like that's kind of me. Like, I found a routine in my life it keeps God first place. In Revelations 1:9, I think it is, Jesus says, I'm the beginning and the end. And I keep God in the beginning and the end of my life, in my day, every day. Like I said, I wake up and I spend time in prayer and Proverbs and reading my Bible, chapter a day. And everything in between those 2 periods in my life, they seem to just be falling into place. I go after I read my Bible and pray. I brush my teeth and wash my face and comb my hair and get undressed, and then I've always got this attitude. I'm gonna go change the world. I'm about to go change somebody's world, even if it's just to go fix their door handle on their front door, or any minor thing. To them, it's changing their world. To me, it ain't nothing to me because I've been doing this. It's just everyday life. But for them, and the reason I said the door is because just yesterday, an 83-year-old man called me up, said, "Hey man, I got my front door stuck. It sticks and it won't latch and this and that and whatever." So I drove an hour and a half to his house, and I walked in there and I had his door. I adjusted some stuff on his door and fixed his door in 10 minutes. Okay. He called me today and told me that, "Thank you for coming to fix my door, and it locks so good now, and it's so this and it's so that," and he just spent 5 minutes appreciating the little handyman job I did for him. And that's what my life is all about now. Like, I don't live for the compliments. I live for bettering the life. Like, I just want to help my neighbor. I just want to help my neighbor find God. And I kind of want to be just like Jesus, who I look at as my big brother.
You kind of want to be like Jesus?
I want to be like him.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't think you were there when I was on stage. I don't know if you were there or not when I called Jesus my big brother on stage. Was you there?
I was.
Okay. I don't remember.
Okay.
So anyways, yeah.
Yep.
That's my new normal. And it's normal. I've been doing it long enough to consider it normal.
Yeah. What is your greatest fear in life?
Being alone. I'm alone. Like, I've never even been close to being married. I claim other people's kids as my kids, and I'm afraid to get to the age where, I can't take care of myself and I'm going to be alone. So that's one of the things I feared the most in life. Will it happen that way? That's what I'm afraid of. I don't even know. So
Yeah. There is an unknown aspect to that, right?
Yeah.
And it may or may not be out of your control, but I know God's in control, right?
Yeah.
I know you believe that.
yeah.
And so thank you.
And I do have great faith. I probably won't, but there's the question is, will I? I don't know, but it's kind of a fear. It's something I kind of worry about every once in a while, but my faith takes over, and I let it ride, because it just lasts a moment, and I want to pay attention to here and now and not tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as you are, wanting to help your neighbor and let people know about God and how God has been a big part of your life and has helped this change in you, right? How do you make a living? What do you do for work? How can our audience get in contact with you to help fund this mission of yours to help your neighbor?
Well, let's see. No, so I'm a
Besides
carpenter.
the Bank of Jason, as you responded to one of my Facebook posts.
Oh man, I thought that was funny to me.
It was funny, yeah.
You can just send your money to me, bro, and I won't charge you a dime.
Give a little
seriously.
context. My bank started charging incoming wiring fees. And I posted about it on Facebook yesterday, and Jason, in his witty way, said, "You can just deposit it with the Bank of Jason. I won't charge you a thing." So yeah, I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
So how can people contact you? What do you do? Yeah.
So I have these cards made out last year because I've been remodeling houses. I've been probably remodeling houses pretty solid since 2013, but I've always had a background in working on houses. So I know how to work on houses, basically.
You work on houses?
I've worked on a few houses.
Okay.
my boss decided he was going to retire. He's like my father. He's like a father figure to me, and he decided he was going to retire. And so I went out on my own, and I had a dream about these cards one night, and it said Jason Statzer, simple, honest handyman, with my phone number. And I have a connect for, printing agency or whatever, and she designed the cards, and they were basic, simple, bold cards. So I do work for a repair now. It's a handyman service. He's been in the business for 20 years. I met him at church. He offered me a job after our conversation. And today I kind of do work orders for him, but I have the freedom to, go take care of my own things if I need to. I'm a basic, simple handyman. And I'm very handy around the house. And if there's something that I can't do or it's way out of my league, I probably have a contact who can fix the thing, or lead you in the direction to have it taken care of.
Yeah. So his number is appearing on the screen right now. So if you have a need, a handyman need, or a carpentry need, I heard before this interview that you like to work with wood.
I build stuff.
You build stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. What's your favorite thing to create? Do you have a certain type of piece?
I was really very interested. I spent some time. I used to love to refinish broken furniture that I found in the trash. I'd find a piece of broken furniture, no matter what it was, and I could fix it and sand it and stain it and and not even sell it, just give it away because it was beautiful, And I've restored a few hundred pieces of furniture probably in my life. So furniture would probably be a passion for me. I'm really good at doing drywall repair. I kind of like doing that stuff.
Like taping and bedding, that type, or
Hole
a patch?
patching,
Okay.
patching, taping and bedding. I mean, anything that has to do with doing drywall. I kind
That's
of
a
like. It's really messy. You go home really dirty and really messy, and I don't want to sand it though. I mean, that's just the one thing I don't want to do is
That's
sand
really
it.
messy. Yeah.
Well, I mean that's when you become good with the taping and bedding, so you ain't got to do much sanding, And I'm pretty good at it, but I still got to come back and sand my stuff a little bit. And I'm not commercial grade, I'm just, there's no way to be perfectionist with me. There's going to be there may be minor little hickeys or something in it. There always is, there's nothing perfect. When I work, I'm never quite the perfectionist, but I think that's part's a demon. But that's just my perspective.
Well, and I'll tell you, as a realtor who is in houses all the time, there are a lot of imperfections.
There are a lot of
in
imperfections.
work that anybody does. So
Yeah.
nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
In that regard. So, all right. So if you had to go back and you could talk to your 13-year-old self, what would you tell yourself? Like, knowing what you know now, what would you tell 13-year-old Jason?
Well, I would encourage myself to dig in deeper with God at a younger age. And I tell the young folks this all the time. I would encourage the deeper relationship with God, and I would explain to myself what that actually means. Because people have relationships with God, but they don't know God.
So what does that mean, Jason? What does a deeper relationship mean?
Well, in your private time, at home, when you're by yourself, in the bathroom, whatever you're at, whatever you're doing, are you really talking to God on the inside? Are you really trying to build a better you? Are you willing to be everything that God created you to be? Do you care to be everything that God created you to be? I mean, those kinds of questions matter. Those are rhetorical questions. Those are ones that take action to answer. Do I care enough? Yeah, I'm going to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and start reading my word with a cup of coffee before the world wakes up and disturbs my peace.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I care enough to go the extra measure, to take extra measurements and to dig deeper. And what does these things really mean to me? And how can I put them into action? How can I put my faith out there? Because in all seriousness, when you have a relationship with somebody, it's private.
Mm-hmm.
And if your relationship with God isn't, if you're not doing nothing in your private time, what is your relationship with God?
Right.
You know, we can go to church all day long, sing worship music, and be around all the people that worship God, make an appearance, and then go home and leave God at church.
Mm-hmm.
So I would tell my 13-year-old self to, I would try to give pointers to my 13-year-old self on taking a relationship with God more serious and explaining to myself what that meant.
Yeah.
You know, not a relationship like with your mom or with your girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that's going on inside, where only God is. God is inside of us. That's why, you know, he's everywhere and you can see everything. Well, that's because he's inside of us, and he's looking through all of our eyes, and he's inside of our hearts, and that's where the relationship begins, is inside here. It's
Right.
not. They don't begin at the church
Mm-hmm.
or something fantastic said on stage. It begins here. And if you're not spending private time at home building what's going on in here, what are you really going to do? I mean, is it really that serious?
Mm-hmm.
It all boils down to, do I care enough? Do I really want to be everything God created me to be? I do. In fact, that's part of my prayer. God, teach me how to be everything you created me to be. Help me not to conform to the patterns of this world. Renew my mind, body, and strength to be everything you created me to be. And that's all I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Your will, not mine. Now let's go change the world. And that's the self-talk I have in my mirror on a daily. And I mean, I'm sharing that today because there's people out there who need to hear somebody say, hey, I need to talk myself into being everything God created me to be, because I care. And I don't want to miss the mark. And I, Jason Statzer, do not want to miss the mark that God has for me. I want to be there, and I want to help people. I want to encourage people to do the same. Because when it comes down to it, everybody wants what I feel. I guarantee it.
I have a question for you, and I would like for you to look in the camera and tell our audience from your perspective. And I know you can't speak for everyone who's going through an addiction, but from your perspective, for those of us who are on the outside and we notice that, or we suspect that somebody has an addiction to whatever it may be, what do you need from us? What does someone who's addicted need from someone on the outside? Is it purely love? Is it getting, how do you get them the help that they need? So tell the audience what we can do to help people.
So as a drug addict, if I'm a drug addict and I'm high on drugs, and I'm lost in the addiction, I don't need anybody to judge me. The last thing I need is for you to tell me how to live my life, because you're not me, and you're not going through the things that I'm going through. The one thing I need mostly from my neighbors is support. Now, you can encourage me, and you can love me, and you can do things for me, but just don't judge me, because it makes me more angry, and I'm gonna go use. it actually doesn't help at all. It helps me stay high. So, if you do have somebody in your life, in your family, in your relationships out there that is struggling with drug addiction, the best thing you can do for them is to understand, to let them vent to you, let them say, hey, this is what's going on. And it's not going to be easy in the beginning because, let's face it, we've been arguing with them for how long? So they're not just going to run up to you and say, hey, this is what's going on with me, and this is what the thoughts are going on inside my mind. It's going to take time to get there. But you have to take the first step and probably apologize for the past behaviors that you've displayed towards the drug addict. We got to be open-armed, ladies and gentlemen. We got to be like Jesus was on that cross. We got to die with our arms wide open. We can't judge them. We just can only love them and understand them and understand they're going through things. I have friends who have heroin addicts in their family, and I realized, I come to this vision in my head not too long ago that a heroin addict in particular, or an opiate addict, where they're addicted to pain pills and stuff like that, they have this vice, and one of their limbs is locked in this vice. And the longer they go without this drug or this whatever they're addicted to, the tighter the vice gets. Okay, and the vice gets tighter and tighter and tighter. And if we're on the outside talking about how you should be and do this, that, and that, and this, man, you're the one cranking the vice. You're making it worse. You're not helping. You're making it worse. And the only time that vice lets up a little bit is when they use. And it only lets up a little bit. Personally, I've never been to that point in my life where I was physically hurting for a drug like that. But I definitely have an imagination. And I know enough heroin addicts or opiate addicts to I can only imagine. I've never experienced. But I know that I would not want to be the one cranking on that vice. I'd want to be the one that was holding their hand and loving them anyways. Because when it comes down to it, addiction is a personal battle. When I'm addicted to meth, it's my issue that I have to solve because of the things that are working on inside of me. I choose to stay clean from meth today. I do what it takes to stay focused on who Jason is and who Jason thinks God created Jason to be. That's my main goal, and I know it is to inspire and encourage others. I want to share a story real quick. On my 40th birthday, right after my 40th birthday, I fell 2 stories from a scaffolding. I was changing out windows, a 2-story house. It was the very last window. And it was the very last caulk line. It was the very last thing of the day. Now, I'd been up on this scaffolding probably 2 or 3 days on this job, changing out these windows. And on the very last day, the very last window, the very last caulk line, the very last everything has to do with this job, the scaffolding fell out from underneath me. I was on the scaffolding alone. I was probably 20 feet in the air because I was on top of a 4-foot ladder on top of the scaffolding. Well, the scaffolding fell away from the house, and I went in between. I bounced my head off a rock, and needless to say, it gave me a major concussion and a brain injury. During this time in my recovery, it was hard for me to get out of my room because I was so scared. I mean, terrified. I've never been so scared in my life. I started having these dreams about 716. 716 here, 716 there, 716. And 716 happens to be my birthday. But I couldn't understand why I kept having the dreams of 716, and even when I'm awake. I see 7:16 everywhere, every single where. And it got to the point where I was frustrated because I kept seeing it so much, it's driving me crazy, and I didn't understand why. So I asked Facebook. I put it out there, and was concerned. And you know, sometimes when you put stuff out there on Facebook, somebody comes up with a pretty good logical answer. So my aunt, she said, "Jason, man, your middle name is John. Why don't you look up John 7:16 and see if you can't find some kind of answer?" Well, that's logical. Sounds like a good idea. You know, I think I will do that. And so I opened the Bible to John 7:16, and it has changed my life. Because in John 7:15, it sets up 16. It's 15. They're talking about, and I meant to bring my Bible in here today because I wanted to read it. But it's talking about, Jesus he was teaching, and they were asking, how does this man know so much without ever being trained, ever been taught? And John 7:16 says that I have been sent here to teach a doctrine not of my own, but of the one who sent me. Or I am here to teach a doctrine not of my own, but of the one who sent me. Yeah, right here. Let's go ahead and read it real quick. In 14 it says, "Not until halfway through the festival did Jesus go up to the temple courts and begin to teach. The Jews there were amazed and asked, 'How does this man get such learning without having been taught?'" Without no education, he didn't go learn his stuff from anywhere. And Jesus retorted, answered, he says, "My teaching is not of my own. It comes from the one who sent me." You know, I grew up with so much stuff on my shoulders. And to be honest with you, when I read that verse, it angered me. Because now I've got to do this. Now I've got to change the world. Oh my God. Now what about Jason? I'm going to change the world. So, of course, it's not angers me today. Actually, it gives me great confidence in my perspective of the way I see things, and the things I put out there for people to hear. Because I believe that we've all been sent. God sent Jesus here to teach us a doctrine of Him, and I believe that God sent Jason here to become that doctrine, or teach that doctrine, or to be an example of that doctrine, and to be like his big brother. I mean, that's my mission in life, is to be like my big brother. And I don't look at Jesus as the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords and the holier than thous and all that stuff. I look at him as my big brother. And my big brother just happens to be the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords.
Okay, thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Got another question for you before I get to our questions at the end. So, what is one thing that you love about yourself?
What's the one thing I love about myself?
Mm-hmm.
How much time we got? No, I'm kidding. I don't want to tell you, Matt. I'm learning how to love myself, because I've spent a lot of time in my life hating my life and myself, and any reason I could come up with to hate me, because it's never been about me. I don't know how to love myself, but I'm learning. But the one thing that I do love about myself is that I made the decision to take my life serious with God. Like, and I did. And I take it to a different level. It's pointed out in me in church. Like, they see it. Mm-hmm. They see it more than I do. I mean, they think and they're right, I do. I take my life so serious when it comes to God and what I'm supposed to be doing in my life, my mission in life. I mean, that's one thing I'm very proud of myself, and that I really love about myself, is that I'm a funny guy. I'm a people person. I can make lighter out of anything, and I really like that. I really like that I can connect, and I really do love Jason Stadzer.
That's good. That's good. We love you too.
Yeah,
for sure.
Thank you.
So, as we wrap up here, you may or may not know about the nonprofit that I created back in December of 2021. It's called Who Do You Know? And we focus on inspiring imagination and helping people's dreams come true in any walk of life by making connections. And we focus on 3 different pillars. So we focus on who would you like to meet that's alive? What experience would you like to have? And what place would you like to visit? So I'm going to ask you those 3 questions. What person who is alive would you like to meet?
Wow. So, I am not, and I know after all this stuff I've said on your podcast here and all the things that I've been talking about, the person I would love to meet the most, because I relate to him so much, is Marshall Mathers, Eminem. This man puts music out there like he wrote my life down, and he's making a fortune off of my experiences. I relate to him so much because I don't know. It's just, there ain't nothing out there he ain't put out there that doesn't grab me in some way and helps me relate to him. And the anger issues, he's a blonde hair, angered guy. I mean, God, all of it. I mean, the problems with mothers and I mean, just everything he put out there I can relate to. And I would just love to shake his hand one day and tell him thanks. And that's it. That's all I don't want to hang out with him. I don't want any of that stuff. I just want to tell him thanks, because he's a major part of my courage to be me. Like, I'm not scared to jump out there and be me, and I was before, but for some reason, just listening to him has really given me the courage to be who I am on the inside, out in front of everybody.
Okay. So the next one is, what experience would you like to have?
Okay, well, I'm going to wrap up the last 2 questions with this answer. I have a passion to visit a third world country like Pakistan or something, and visit the orphanages over there. Main reason is because I have video chatted with a few people who are over there overseeing these orphanages, and there's a lot of orphanages in Pakistan, or you know, all over there. Man, there's a lot of love and God in there. One particular video chat I was having with a girl that was over there in Pakistan, took care of 25 kids on her own by herself. You know, she's pretty much had 25 kids she was responsible for. And these 25 kids sang Jesus songs to me on that video, man. And it was probably the most heartfelt thing I've ever experienced. So I would like to visit one of these orphanages one time with some kind of donation or something, just to here, you know, because they touched me. You know, they touched my heart, and it's just, I feel so sad for them, because they're, man, that's the list. There's too much to list on why, but I just got heart for them.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that, and maybe somebody out there who's listening or watching can help make one of those dreams of Jason Statzer come true. So, Jason, thanks again for being here with us, man.
Hey, man, thanks for having me, man.
Appreciate it.
It's really neat. It was a really neat experience, and man, I thank you.
Yeah, for sure. And before we wrap up, I do want to just let everybody know that Jason has a vision of creating some sort of a YouTube channel so that he can share what he feels that God is calling him to say, whether it's reading from the Bible, sharing something from his heart, whatever that may be. So I will let y'all know once that comes about, and it may be in a comment on one of these videos or something along those lines, but we'll encourage you and help you through that, and support you in any way we can.
That'd be amazing.
So, yes, sir. All right, until next time, everybody, thank you for joining us, and stay tuned next week, because we will have another fascinating person with a potentially inspiring story. Thank you.
The Matt Hilton Show would like to thank our sponsors, Hilton Realty Advisors and Maria Leach with the First United Mortgage Group. The Matt Hilton Show would also like to thank our partners, the Who Do You Know organization. You can find out more at wdyk.org. If you'd like to contact Matt or know a fascinating person with an inspiring story that would make a great guest, reach out to the show at themattHiltonshow@gmail.com.